All right. Hi, everybody. I hope you will join us tonight. Well, you are joining us tonight because you're going to come join us tonight. This is very important. What we have is Desmond Berry and myself tonight. And Desmond's going to do a lot of talking. This is about the water quality of Flint resident Vicki Marx that Desmond interviewed. They spoke about what the hardships are for her. But what has happened is a test came in, and Desmond's going to tell us all about this. It is really, really upsetting, and we're going to learn something tonight. But what we're going to also do is we are going to start a chain and a network of people to help each other and look at what's going on in our own cities. So, Desmond, I'm going to give it to you. Thank you very much for coming.
All right. Thanks, Sandy. It's great to be here, of course. It's really hard to start this out. I don't know the appropriate place to start. You and I were having a group chat, and we were talking about things and how things are going to come along and what we're doing. And then I got another message right in the middle of that. And the message I got was from Vicki Marx, the Flint resident that, yes, on Saturday, I interviewed right here live on Environmental Coffee House.
Yeah. I don't want to cut you out.
For folks who remember that interview, Vicki kind of explained about the different lead levels that she'd been noticing in her home by, taking the 2-bottle water tests.
Very scary.
And having them run at the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality Laboratories. So, there's strict procedures in running those samples. In the industry, they call it SOPs, which is standard operating procedures.
Okay.
So they're very controlled. And the reason for that being is so you get a very highly accurate sample and a really highly accurate number. Some of the things Vicki shared with us Saturday was the onset of Parkinson's, which, if anybody is familiar with Parkinson's, it is a neurological disease or disorder. And for folks that are watching, lead poisoning is also considered a neurotoxin. So Vicki is she's making a direct correlation between the lead contamination of her drinking water and her illness. And, I don't blame her for making that correlation. She shared a lot of results with us on Saturday. She does a great job, by the way, of documenting all of these tests. And, what we talked about on Saturday was a test that she had received the results on, I'm looking at my notes right here, on July 17th, 2017. So a couple weeks ago, right? And the lead levels in Vicki's kitchen faucet at that time were 4,138 parts per billion. And
that's insane.
That is insane. And that was a 1 liter sample. Now, according to anybody can Google this information. This isn't trade secret information. It's not hidden. It's, with the power of the internet, we can all research this, look this up. If you go to the Environmental Protection Agency's website, they'll clearly tell you that lead levels higher than 15 parts per billion. The EPA recommends taking steps.
All right.
And some of those steps that they recommend taking are, anti-corrosive, essentially an orthophosphate to coat your pipes, or, updating your pipes. Okay. That's if the levels reach 15 parts per billion. According to the CDC, there's no 100% safe level, all right, of lead in your drinking water. According to CDC, no level at all. That's the only safe level. So the EPA also has a standard that 5 parts per billion of lead is it's a cause for concern, but go ahead and drink your water.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
That's what our United States Environmental Protection Agency. I see a hi, Desmond and Sandy. Hi, Vicki. I love you so much, sweetheart. I can't wait to see you again very soon.
Hi, Vicki. I'm so sorry.
I'm glad you guys are getting a chance to meet each other. It'd be really cool to have Vicki come on sometime, Sandy.
We can do it. We could all 3 do it.
I think that would be wonderful.
Good, Vicki. We're going to bring you on.
Yeah, that'd be so great. You're going to love her to death. You really are. The first time my wife and I met Vicki over the spring, my wife just fell in love with her. Absolutely adores her, and myself as well.
And we want to help, and I feel almost powerless.
I know. It's such a tough feeling right now. Some other numbers I want to share with you before I jump into the big stuff, though. One of the classifications for hazardous waste is a liquid that has 5,000 parts per billion of lead in it. Okay, so 5,000 parts per billion is classified by the EPA again,
which I have up,
as hazardous waste. Okay, so I received, and I know, Sandy, you have a copy of this, so maybe we can put this in a post afterwards, because Vicki has, taken the time to black out information that, is sensitive to.
Thank you.
To her.
Good.
It left her name and it left the county on because we do have the actual lab results that Vicki has shared. So the that one, that was received on 7/24. Okay, these results were received on 7/24. Now it's August 1st, so right? Those levels in Vicki's drinking water, this is a tough one to say. It choked me up earlier.
I know.
Right? That is 7,245 parts per billion, Sandy. Now, like I said before, according to our EPA, if there's 5,000 parts per billion of lead in water, it is to be treated as hazardous waste.
Yes. I just posted it in the comments that awesome. What you sent me with the blacked out information. So
awesome. So everybody can see that now. Those are actual Michigan Department of Environmental Quality laboratory results. And these are the individuals that are tasked with keeping our drinking water safe. Okay? This is their laboratory. This is not Desmond Berry trying to run a lead sample, or Vicki Marx, or yourself. This is an accredited laboratory with vetted SOPs in place. And those lead levels, 7,245 parts per billion in a 1 liter sample. Now, it's important to mention the size of the sample, too. Because if you look at and I can't see it right now, but if you look at the 250 milliliter sample, it's going to have to be over 12,000 parts per billion.
There is one. The lead 250 milliliter sample is 12,064.
There you go. So
it's insane.
So that's why it's important that we talk about the sample size. I hope there are other scientists that watch this feed. I hope there are other drinking water experts that watch this feed.
And neighbors.
That can hear that. And that's the other thing, Sandy, to mention is Vicki is one Flint resident. Okay. The last I knew, and this might be out of date, but the last I knew, there was roughly 90,000 residents in the city of Flint. I don't know how many of these residents have been affected or are affected currently I'm just scratching the tip of the iceberg right now. But one individual's home who's been gracious enough to share these results, to try and tell this story for the world to know what is taking place in a developed nation inside of a developed city on a peninsula surrounded by 95% of America's fresh surface water.
The Great Lakes.
This is taking place in her home currently. Now, another thing I want to talk about, though, is, and we talked about it on Saturday, but it's Vicki had her blood drawn, okay? And what they did was they took a capillary sample.
Right.
And now that is read in micrograms, okay, per deciliter. According to the card that Vicki had been given, if the level is 10 micrograms per deciliter, you are to take quick action. Get with your physician and start some type of a regime to pull the lead levels out, because what happens is it will come out of your blood after about 30 days. Okay, but it just doesn't come out of your blood. It goes into your bones.
Yeah.
And it goes into your organs. And our brain is an organ. Okay.
Trevor's with us. Trevor Andrew.
We need to talk with Trevor. I need to get in contact directly with him and start learning. I started watching some of Trevor's work. And really, really need to talk to Trevor. So.
We can do a group conversation here too with Trevor. So Trevor, we are aware. We want to talk, and you and Desmond.
Yes,
yep, you got it.
Yes, sir, we do. Absolutely. Because this is the kind of help we need now. This has gone beyond my level of expertise. This has accelerated into a different dimension, a different realm. I can't understand why Flint has not been, classified in a state of emergency right now. I don't know why the Federal Emergency Management, FEMA, has not been triggered and brought in to Flint, Michigan. I don't understand that.
I have a lot of things I could say that
I know.
I'm not going to. I'm going to have decorum and class and grace, even though I would like to say a lot of things about the political establishment in Michigan and all over our country. But I will refrain.
Sometimes we have to bite our tongue and look at the bigger picture.
Do.
And now's one of those times, I share a lot of those same sentiments, Sandy. I know I do.
You do.
So the quick action level is 10 micrograms per deciliter. Well, Vicki's blood sample came back at 38.4 micrograms per deciliter. So 3.8 times greater than the quick action level. Almost 4 times greater than what the quick action level is.
Floating around her blood. Let's see. What does it say?
Some of the stuff is going to, this is it's a pretty intense treatment. The chelation therapy is probably 18 weeks. And I've been told, I don't know. I'm not a doctor. Okay. I'm not a nurse. I'm not a medical professional, but I've been told this is very similar to chemotherapy treatment.
Oh boy.
So because somebody owns a home in a developed city and doesn't even use their drinking water for drinking. Okay. Vicki hasn't been using that. That's the important thing to note for the viewers. Vicki has not.
Right. But then there's
this water for drinking.
This load of bull on the EPA site that I read to you earlier that said it's perfectly fine and that human skin does not absorb lead. Do you hear me? That is on the EPA site. That cannot be true, guys.
The other thing is important to remember too, though. It's not just your skin absorbing it. Because I don't think when you take a shower, you hold your breath.
No.
So that means you breathe while you're taking a shower. Now, we understand Legionnaire's disease, and we understand that is through in your lungs and inhaling.
Yep.
I have a feeling that this lead absorption into Vicki's blood was because she was bathing in this lead, because she has not been drinking this water.
No.
Okay.
So then
and now Vicki has been reduced to collecting rainwater to take a bath in a developed nation inside of a city that once had over 200,000 people and is the home of General Motors. Okay? They have a large that's the reason why we're in the situation we're in. Okay? Vicki has to collect rainwater. And we love to collect rainwater to feed our gardens.
But we don't have to live that way. We're not made to live that way. She probably has a mortgage. And people that after you did your interview, I answered this. Somebody said, well, why doesn't she just leave? Now, come on. If you have a mortgage in a house, how is she going to leave? How is she going to support herself? How is she going to pay a mortgage then and rent somewhere else? Right. She doesn't have a lot. She worked at Home Depot and she's on Medicaid. Thank God she has, or Medicare, whatever she's on. She has some help. Medicare, okay. Which could be taken away.
Well, and think about this, because some people who think that way and think, oh, well, why don't she just leave? And like you said, well,
you just leave then.
Yeah, right. Why don't you just move out of your town? Imagine if today, those of us, myself included, who have mortgages on our homes, had to move because our drinking water is considered hazardous waste. What could we sell our homes for?
Nothing. So the government's going to have to buy these houses. Somehow there's going to have to be, you know what? We don't need a wall. We need to fix Flint. We need to fix inner city plumbing, transportation, everything. But this water problem is number one.
It is number one. It is number one. So folks like Vicki can't sell their homes because they're worthless. When you turn on the tap and you get hazardous waste out of it, no one's going to buy that. Hell, I don't know if you could pay somebody to take it.
You know, it's going to be almost it could be like a Love Canal situation. This may even be, that neighborhood may be that toxic that it's going to take something like what happened with Love Canal to get all those people out. But now it's got to be a community effort.
This has
to community. They have to come together. She has to know her neighbors. Those neighbors have to know what's happening to her. They all have to have their water tested, and then they have to make a stink about it. And it could be it could be just like what happened in Niagara Falls.
You know what? And
it's not toxic waste. It's coming from their water. It's not from.
It is. And think about the little kids in Flint. I know when I was a little kid, I loved to turn on the garden hose and play. And what did I do? I always ended up going, and getting a drink out of the garden hose.
Of course.
Imagine these little kids that are still currently playing in the water, the garden hose.
I don't want to. So this is an epic proportions, guys. We really are talking something major. And this little live stream is going to start something. It's going to spread because the activists that have the camps there are going to learn about this and they're going to pay attention to it. And perhaps they will go into these neighborhoods, Vicki's neighborhood, to start and help these people. They need help.
That's the big thing right now is canvassing these neighborhoods, helping every individual in these neighborhoods ascertain a water collection. The water sample bottles.
Yeah.
Collect the water
to Chelsea
for them. If you're in these camps in Flint, this is my advice to you. There are 2 camps. My advice to you is immediately start canvassing the neighborhoods. Find out if individuals have had their water tested. Make sure
families
know what their lead levels are. Let's make this the biggest priority right now. Find out what those water levels are. Collect the samples, collect the bottles, collect the water, return the bottles if you must.
Mm-hmm.
But get that done for every resident. Make that happen right now. Start tonight and do it until it's done. And
it's going to have to happen.
Because we're being told all the time that the problem is being addressed. It's been over 3 years now. And what I hear, I'm about 4 hours north of Flint, okay? Where I live. And what I hear right now, if it isn't for independent media coming out of Flint, what I hear is the problem is being addressed. And I hear stuff like, well, President Trump has allocated $100 million. And I hear stuff like the mayor has a plan to replace 15 to 18,000 pipes.
Right. But in the wrong place, not the right. Didn't Vicki say not at the point of where it should be, but sort of in the middle, and they're attacking it in the wrong way?
Well, there are issues with that plan, but there's also issues with, what are these residents going to do? For instance, if they came through and they put all new mains and service lines in, and all the lead was gone.
Right.
Now what are the residents going to do that have appliances? Okay. Your hot water heater is going to be full of lead. Your wash machine will be full of lead. If you are fortunate to have a dishwasher, it will be full of lead. If you have a refrigerator that has ice and water on it, it will be full of lead. So those appliances, they're garbage. Okay? They're actual garbage, and they need to be tossed out. So who will foot that bill? Right now, Vicki in her home has to foot that bill. Okay? Vicki's done everything Vicki can do. Vicki has actually went out, bought, replaced all of her fixtures, all of her faucets. She has done everything she can do. And yes, every Flint resident deserves compensation.
Absolutely, Kat. And we need to find probably an environmental attorney who'll take this case for the neighborhood once others get involved. And if they have those kinds of levels, which I can't see how they can't. How could she be the only one?
That's it. We have to go door to door and find out where these lead levels are on each home there. It's not good enough to do a random sample where the DEQ sits down and, okay, we got this many homes. We're going to do 270 random samples. Have to deal with the pH of the water. Yeah, you're correct. They haven't. They claim that Trevor Andrew. I guess Trevor would be your first name. I hope I'm.
Yes, Trevor is. He's up in British Columbia. He's got the site. Trevor will tell us about it. We're going to definitely learn about it.
I've been delving into that to learn more about the software and stuff. The pH is a big deal, but what they have said is since they have switched back to the Detroit water, that the pH is no longer an issue. What happened during the switch to the Flint River was that the pH was an issue and could have been treated with the orthophosphates, which provides that coating, a scale, so to speak, on the center of the pipe, and protects the lead. Well, the Flint River was highly corrosive, and they did not add anything.
Nothing.
Okay, Christine, they flush the lines for 20 minutes before they test. That should be done without flushing. Now, see, they just done Vicki's test again.
Right.
And they did flush it for 20 minutes. Yeah. Which, like I mentioned in my video, Trevor even mentioned, I think it's appropriate to do 2 minutes. But again, who goes to their faucet to get a drink of water and runs it for 2 minutes?
You know who did? I used to work at the Great Lakes Center. Before I was the HR person at the university, I worked for the Great Lakes Center, the toxicology and chemistry lab. Dr. Sika would turn on the tap water and let it run for 2 minutes. And he said he could drink it, but he would let it run before he ever drank the tap water. I thought he was crazy for drinking it, but he let it run. Hey, he was the toxicology and chemistry guy. So who was I to argue with a PhD who traveled all over the world?
And he let. Well, maybe
there.
that's some scary advice. What's the?
I don't know.
Why do we got to let our water run for 2 minutes?
Yeah,
push it out, right? Yeah, it's insane. So that's what I need people to know right now. So the test Vicki received on the 17th of July showed her lead levels at 4,138 parts per billion. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey Ryan, how are you, brother?
Yeah.
And on 7/24, the test results that Vicki received showed her levels at 7,245 parts per billion. Both samples were 1 liter samples. Again, I mentioned 5,000 parts per billion being classified as hazardous waste. So, quite frankly, when Vicki turns her faucet on in her home, she's running hazardous waste down into the drain system. Okay.
That's Doug saying they should be compensated for homes and health. How many people have taken a loss and moved away? They can't. How many people have? That's another question that's going to have to be asked in that neighborhood.
I know they've lost more than half of what the population was, but some of that you would say is due to jobs closing and factories closing, so on and so forth. But
so they're forgotten people. Nobody cares.
Yes, I don't have accurate numbers on how many people have actually been able to move out of the city of Flint over the last 3 years since this problem was noted. 3 years, and it's still not fixed. We heard from Vicki that it's like 2020 that they're predicting before they have this wrapped up. I mean, for God's sakes.
She's got an illness.
6 years.
She has an illness that's progressing. And if she leaves that house and does not have to be near that water, perhaps it will never progress any further than what she has already. And that is a damn
one could hope.
And she said it wasn't necessarily genetic.
Right. Again,
so we don't know.
Again, it's a neurological disorder or disease.
Parkinsons.
And lead, poisoning causes neurological issues.
Oh, Vicki.
So she's making that direct correlation, and I don't blame her for doing that. Again, not being a medical doctor, it's impossible for me to factually say that, but utilizing common sense. Thank you, Trevor. Sure appreciate it.
Trevor, you know what we're doing? We're bringing the issue, but I'm hoping that the boots on the ground activists in Flint are going to see this, and they're going to realize that they now have a mandate to go to Vicki's neighborhood. They now have something else they have to do to help these people, because it cannot be just Vicki.
No.
And I'm not on the ground there. I'm in New York. So I can't. I can do
and
this.
I'm 4 hours away, but I'm telling you what, I'm going to have a smidgen of family downtime next week. My family from my Texas family will be here for a few days. So I'm going to take those few days, and I'm going to try and refocus, because I'm going to be God honest, and Sandy knows this, but for the viewers, when I seen these results, I lost it. I broke down. All right. I was losing. The emotions I felt were overwhelming, because I didn't know if I needed to be mad, if I needed to be sad. I couldn't collect my emotions, and I broke down and I called Sandy.
It was the sad. We're a team.
I cried like a baby over this, Sandy. When I seen those results, I lost it.
How are you supposed to feel when you know people are being poisoned, when somebody you care about, Vicki, you've met her, you feel her, you know she's part of your heart, and she's being systematically poisoned? How are we supposed to feel? How? We both were awfully, horribly upset.
We have to feel outraged, and we have to do everything in our power as human beings.
Roger?
Okay, as human beings. And we have to come together, and we have to unite, we have to realize that there are people being poisoned in an American city, and we all have to get off of our asses and do something, whether it's calling the governor's office, whether it's calling our attorney general's office and saying, hey, hold some more people accountable and fix this problem now. Get FEMA here. This is a disaster. Okay. This is, you know what? I heard this weekend when I was in Flint, I heard another resident, and I would say his name, but I haven't talked to him about this. He said, you know what? This is Katrina for 3 years. God. That's what this is, Desmond. Desmond, this is Katrina for 3 years. We have been under a Katrina here. That's exactly how this needs to be viewed by the United States of America. That's how this needs to be viewed by our Governor Dick Snyder. This must be treated as a disaster, as a federal emergency.
Well, that's what
has to happen. The CDC needs to come here. They need to see these blood samples and these results. The FEMA needs to come here and put their boots on the ground.
How are we going to do this? It's going to be by the activism.
It's going to be by viewers that are watching. It's going to be through the power of unity, the power of people. Okay,
we're going to call.
There were folks fighting an oil pipeline in North Dakota, and the government sent the National Guard to stop the folks fighting this pipeline. Okay, now the government needs to step up, and they need to send folks like that into Flint to collect these water samples, to replace these pipes, to figure out if this source is bigger than the pipes, because I'm not 100% convinced right now. Okay?
Yeah.
That's what needs to take place.
Okay.
The state and federal governments need to take this serious this time.
Okay.
And they need to go there, and they need to stay there, not to just hand out bottled water for Pete's sakes, but to actually fix the problem. And it's going to be folks like you, me, everyone watching that makes it happen. Okay? We need to swarm the city of Flint. Okay? These camps that are there have put out calls to action. They have basically begged for people to help. There's Flint residents that have been begging for exposure regarding media, and it's not happening. Yeah, Ryan is an awesome source too, by the way, Sandy. Awesome source. Incredibly educated on Flint and what's taking place. I tap Ryan for information. I tap Vicki for information. I tap, I'm not name dropping, but there are several people that I tap into for information because they're there. Okay. Yeah, look at that. No. They're spending $36.6 million on a riverfront facelift.
Yeah.
But Vicki Marx is getting hazardous waste out of her kitchen faucet.
Who's going to be able to go? If they're all dead, who's going to visit the waterfront? Oh, my Lord. Our priorities are pretty screwed up. And we found out in the last few years, we all woke up that the priority of the government is not the citizens of the United States like we are.
Which is why we have to take it back. It is in our hands right now. The power of the people. Okay? Yeah. By uniting for a single cause. And what greater cause than human health and safety?
Absolutely. And we'll start tomorrow. We can all make those calls. Safety. We'll get the links.
We got to do it. We got to force this Michigan state government into, I'm tired of kicking the can down the road philosophies. I'm tired of we're working on a solution. I'm tired of we're throwing this money at it, that money of it. Just fix the doggone thing. Vicki mentioned on Saturday, she had spoke to a very well-known and experienced plumber who said he could replace every pipe in Flint in 2 years.
Okay.
He could get that done in that time. But you know what? The United States military, the United States military, the National Guard, they have engineers. They have construction. They have equipment. Let's declare this city an emergency, a crisis. let's enact FEMA, and let's bring them there, and let's get this done, not in 2 years, not in 3 years, but let's get this done. They can go into other countries, and they can build bridges and developed towns with water supplies in a matter of no time when they're there to either foster a different type of war or collect oil. So you know what? They can do it on our soil through the National Guard. They can make this happen.
Well then, what we need to do is say, okay, this is an appeal. This is only two of us, Desmond and Sandy. This is an appeal. All of you out there tomorrow, no matter where we are, we'll call the governor's office in Michigan. We can at least do that. Somebody needs to help us get the links. I can't do a lot of the work because I'm taking care of a disabled husband right now.
Yes, and I'm just impressed you're on here right now. I can't believe you're able to do that.
This is huge. His brother's here.
It's wonderful to have you here right now doing this.
Well, his brother's here, and this was very important for Vicki, but we need a team. We need people to get on this. All of you out there, get together somehow. The Michigan activists that are there need to watch this. And I hope that Chelsea's watching. I sent her the link. I hope that through the camps they get this.
Yes.
Because this is what they need to do. Here's your marching orders, guys.
Right. There's been TIFs. That's what I call them, TIFs. Okay. And it's not to downplay anybody's feelings whatsoever, but let's set it all aside right now. Let's set any hard feelings aside, and let's focus on the mission at hand. That mission needs to be the city of Flint, the residents of Flint. Let's set all of it aside. You tell me what I can do. I'm going to do it. I'm a 4-hour drive. I'm going to spend a few days with my family, and then I'm going to take vacation. Okay, from my career. Wow. I'm going to go there, and I'm going to remain there, and I'm going to do whatever I can, media-wise, organize-wise, go and door, whatever it takes. Canvass the neighborhoods. Let's get this water tested. And then once we have all of this, we have a stronger drive to push the state of Michigan into fixing it now. 3 years is too long.
You're amazing.
Let's fix it.
I'm going to cry for what you're doing. I can't even leave my neighborhood.
We can't wait no more. We just can't wait no more. Vicki can't wait no more. You know, the people in Flint can't wait no more. They can no longer wait. This is enough. It's enough. It's enough. Let's call our representatives that we're friends with. I have several state reps I'm friends with.
Okay. Well, then I'll tell you what. We've been on for a while. Everybody knows the deal. I think we've been on, let me see how long, because we like to keep them. Okay, we've been on, we have a little bit longer, but what we want to do is make it not so long that when we share this, people will watch it. So Desmond and I will tell you when we will be back. We'll have a next discussion. Maybe we can bring Trevor in, and maybe we can bring Vicki in. I have the software that it's a group, so you could bring, I think, 3 or 4. So we'll be doing this in the next 3 or 4 days. We'll get something. Desmond, you tell me when you're going on vacation. We're going to get something going. In the meantime, everybody watching, please get it together, especially people that are living in Michigan. Get it together. Get things formed. And I'm going to call the governor myself. I mean, we can all do that, but we need people on the ground. We can all
do that right away.
Boots on the ground in Michigan. All right. I'm going to call every activist I know.
I bet you Ryan can put the governor's phone number in the comments right now, because he's that kind of guy where he has that type of information generally readily available at his fingertips. And I kid you not.
Okay, good.
There's my brother Nate right there.
Hi, Nate.
That says Nabi Bimadizawin Awan. And what that means is water is life. And that's in our traditional language here of the Anishinaabe people. So,
thank you, Nathan.
Bimadizawin Awan.
That's beautiful.
And he's actually an employee. He works at Grand Traverse Band with me. He works in the same department. So
that's great. Look at that. And Ryan is already doing something. So all hands on deck. Yeah, Lynn. All hands on deck. So we'll be back to you guys. We will share this. And oh, thank you, Trevor. Trust me, it's just a few fingers on a computer. But we'll get this out, and we will let you guys know when we'll be back to talk about this. Vicki, stay tuned. There's going to be help. I don't know how, but we're going to send them in. And somehow, I hope the activists are hearing this, because you guys are
boots on the ground. We're getting boots on the ground. I'm pledging right now.
All right.
Boots on the ground in Flint.
All right. And I will do what I can from home, from operating station in southern tier of Western New York. Okay? All right.
Awesome.
Listen, it's not a smiling matter, really, but we are geared up. We know what's going on. The issue is that there is a neighborhood that could be poisoning its people. It could be all over. We're starting with this one. We have the data. We know the woman is sick. We're going to help them, and we're going to go from there.
Amen to that.
Amen. So everybody, thank you for coming. We really appreciate this. And my signature is, what's yours, Desmond? Mine is peace, everybody.
I normally end with Bama P, which means I will see you again.
Bama P?
Yeah.
Bama P. Peace. Thank you, everyone. Good night. Share. Okay. Thank you, Desmond.
Thank you. Good night.
All right.